Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news, some counterpunching news concerning Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte. You know, Dillian Whyte heard the comments of Andy Ruiz, and I'm actually now just loading up that particular video for you guys, let you guys check that out. But Dillian Whyte took to Instagram, and this is what he had to say about Andy Ruiz. He says, "No smoke," with the laughing emoji. Typical coward move from a fake Mexican at Andy_Destroyer1. A blob rolling away from a big payday. You're all stomach and no heart. I'm more Mexican than you and the can man. If you want it, you can get it. Hashtag anytime, anywhere. Hashtag can man. Wow. That is the words of Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte. Now, here's the thing. We have more talk. We have more trash talk. But this is pre-negotiation. I don't even know if this is negotiations at this point, because Andy says, I have something new coming soon. Like I explained you guys in the last interview, or the last video, Andy already said, hey, I don't have time to wait around. I have a big announcement coming soon. So you have a big announcement coming soon. That tells us what? That tells us that you already had something that you were working on, which is nothing really wrong with that. I mean, you like Eddie Hearn, he always does double, he has that side fighter set aside for that other fighter, so if something happens with that other fighter, that fighter pulls out or get injured, boom, he has another fighter right there. But a huge fight coming soon for Andy Ruiz. And again, the list was a pretty decent list. It wasn't people that we haven't heard of. But I think now it's like Andy Ruiz said, the way his last video or his response it came off as though Andy Ruiz was basically saying, I'm moving on. Like, why would you say I'm moving on? Why wasn't there an interview or a statement from Andy Ruiz stating that, hey, I'm waiting for Dillian Whyte in Matchroom to make me a better offer or make me an offer? Because we don't know if those offers were made or not, right? Now, I'm not sure on if a deal was actually made. I heard Eddie say that maybe he might want more money or something like that, to fight. But I'm not sure if there was an offer that been made. You really don't know until something's, whistle blowed, so to speak, that an offer has been made and someone actually comes out and said, no, there was an offer. But it's a lot of things wrong. This is just talk at this point, right? Now these are, a fat blob rolling away from a big payday. You're all stomach and no heart. Damn, that's pretty brash, But for one, since we're talking smack, and this is what this is. If this is the smack, the talking smack game, the shit talking game. If it's the shit talking game, it's up to Andy Ruiz to respond. But if Andy Ruiz is talking as though it's in past tense, that means he's decided to move on and he already had an opponent that he was working on. You know what I mean? And you have to question, like, well, if you wanted that fight, why are you why are you so eager to move on? Let me give you an example. You can tell when fighters or promoters don't want certain fights. You know how? If they make an offer and the offer is either ignored or the fighter says, well, no, it's not enough, then they all of a sudden they move on like, hey, forget it, we're going to go another route. Just like Eddie Hearn and the Ortiz and the Dillian Whyte thing, right? When Eddie Hearn wanted Dillian Whyte to fight Chisora a second time for the rematch, which ended up happening. But Chisora told Eddie Hearn, I want more money. So then it was the offer was back on for Ortiz or whatnot, and then Ortiz, I don't know if they responded in time or whatnot, but if you can tell, the same type of patience was not for Ortiz than it was for Chisora, because after that, Chisora, they renegotiated with Chisora, and we had a Chisora Dillian Whyte Part 2, you know. But they didn't do the same thing with Ortiz. They didn't go back to Ortiz, just like they didn't go back to Ortiz when Ortiz's group said, hey, we dropped the ball. You know what I mean? We didn't, you know, we looked at it or whatever the case was, and Ortiz claimed he didn't know that they sent the offer, which, you know, it was all some shady shit. But at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn was more like not really patient with that. Andy is to look like he's pulling the same thing that Eddie Hearn pulled in that situation. Like he's saying, oh, well, I don't have time to mess around, so I'm going to go another way. I got a big announcement coming soon. I'm like, whoa. Let's hold off on the big announcement. How do we know that Dillian Whyte ducked you? See that basically ducked shit? That's because that's how he put it. Because Andy Ruiz, one thing, he can be an humble guy, but he's not concrete. That's one thing I don't like about Andy. He's like, oh, he basically, yeah, pretty much. No, he either ducked you or he didn't duck you. If you feel he ducked you, just say, I think he ducked me. Don't say, pretty much ducked me. No. Did he duck you? Or did he not duck you? Maybe he lowballed you and you were like, I'm not going for that. That was that. But call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. Don't say a spade is an ace. Right? So this is what we're dealing with, because Dillian Whyte sounds pissed off in this particular article here. This post, he's pissed, saying no smoke. You know, these guys need to sit down. And it really, I would have believed Andy if Dillian Whyte wouldn't have responded so fast. You know what I'm saying? This was a fast response from Dillian Whyte. He made this was an hour ago. Okay? 2 hours ago, sorry. You know, Andy Ruiz made this comment. You have to remember, Dillian Whyte's in the UK. Andy Ruiz is over here. That's like 6 to 7 hours different, especially if Andy, he's on the West Coast. So that's 7 hours different, because it's 6 hours from here. Maybe it's 8 hours difference, because I think it's 2 hours from, yeah, that's 8 hours difference, people. So by the time Andy sent that article to Boxing News 24 and posted that Dillian Whyte was basically ducking him. Oh, but I got an announcement coming soon. You see what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Like, wait a minute. You jumped from someone ducking you or basically ducking you to, hey, I got a huge announcement with somebody else. It don't sound right to me. You know what I mean? Like, it should be a lull time before you start negotiations seriously with someone else, instead of you saying, well, I ain't got time to wait on. Like, dude, you didn't take fucking time to train with the biggest fight of your life, let alone you're saying that, oh, I don't have time to mess around with Matchroom. Now you're bashing Matchroom, the same people that got you all that money, that got you with all the bling bling and shit. That wasn't Al Heyman. Okay? That was Matchroom. Now Al Heyman probably allowed him to do that since he was an Al Heyman fighter. Okay. I give Al Heyman that much. You know, he gave him passage. He opened the door to allow him into all these, you know, riches and jewelry and stuff like that. But that wasn't Heyman. That was the opportunity that he begged Eddie Hearn for, and Eddie Hearn obliged, and he ended up making history, right? Now we're dealing with, oh, well, you know, I don't have time to wait, and he basically ducked me. I mean, it just doesn't, and I have an announcement coming soon. No, you wait for, if someone basically ducked you, first of all, that doesn't let you know that he really ducked you. Now, I think Andy, this is my counterpunch to Andy. I think Andy needs to wait. If he's serious about Dillian Whyte, because again, this could all be bullshit. Andy Ruiz could have said that because he already knew that he was working on something else with his promoter and took that. But he should wait on Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte already responded quick enough for him to let him know, like, dude, nobody was smoking. And then look, it's not like, look at this post. versus Andy Ruiz's post. And this will get you this will let you know who's bullshit and who's not. Dillian Whyte saying, if you want it, you can get it. Okay. Andy Ruiz's post was, oh, I'm moving on. You see what I mean? So it sounds like Andy Ruiz is already talking to Dillian Whyte in past tense. Like, oh, we've tried that. We've done that. That sounds familiar, right? With other negotiations. Oh, we tried. I was so hurt. You know what I mean? Oh, this didn't work. They were ducking. But then there's not enough time. And we don't know what time frame this was, right? When negotiations to really take place. Then all of a sudden someone ducked you or basically ducked you. But then you have time to have another negotiation or a huge or big announcement. That's Al Heyman written all over it. He went to Al Heyman and that's that. So don't say it was Dillian Whyte. You just decided to go another direction. You know what I mean? It's a smoke screen. It's something that you want. Oh, Dillian Whyte's a ducker. He ducked me, but I got what I'm going over here. That type of shit. Because Dillian Whyte's not saying that, oh, you know what? I did want to fight you, but I don't want to fight you no more. He didn't say that. He's still talking as though, no, the negotiations are still open if you want it. You see what I'm saying? If someone's talking presently, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's like two people that used to be together, right? And you got the one person, they've really moved on with somebody else. So everything they say is, oh, I was this with you and I was that with you. But that other person saying, well, that can still be. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? We're talking right now, presently, but all you're doing is talking about things that used to happen instead of things that we could happen or could be made right now. This is what that sounds like. So you got Andy Ruiz talking in the past, but then talking about what he has in the future with someone else. Then you have Dillian Whyte saying, no, you can get it. I'm the can man. I'm more Mexican than you. You see what I'm saying? So I think with this, Andy Ruiz didn't give enough time. I think he just posted that shit, honestly, just to see what people would say or to save face, to make people think that he didn't duck and he really ducked. He didn't want that high payday money. You think he got $13 million? You think he's hurting for money right now? No. He would rather take an Al Heyman fight to introduce or to welcome himself home. He needs a welcome home party fight back to his, side of the street. That's what I feel right now. Based on the two articles between the two guys and two fighters, whatever, I think it's Andy Ruiz is more with the BS. Unless he says, okay, hey, if you want to fight, you're saying I'm not Mexican, come see me then. You know what I mean? That big announcement coming soon, but it ain't set in stone. Cool, let's make that fight happen. That's what Andy should do. But if he doesn't do that and he just moves on, he just moved on. And that's that. You guys tell me what you think about Dillian Whyte's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.